Hey everyone, it's James over here at thedigitalmediazone.com. Finally getting around to writing up my review of the Nintendo 3DS, the successor to the DS and DSi and DSi XL. So, as you know, it came out a few weeks ago in the States. I came home from my trip to Romania, got to play with it for a month, back off to Romania, but this time I got to bring it with me, so that's really cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and first start off with the features of it. Obviously, new design as far as the system goes, with two cameras on the front side compared to if I bring up my DSi. Just one camera. This is nice because obviously it's able to now shoot 3D pictures, and in the future they're going to add 3D video support as well. Also on the system, you kind of have very similar things that the DSi had, including microphone, SD card slot here. So if I go ahead and open this up, I'm going to try to not make this as wobbly as possible, but inside preloaded is a 2 gig card, which is nice, and data is also being stored on this from games, and also other things. You have the stylus in the back, IR port. On the back here you also have the plug. And then these two little things here for the nice docking station. Then you also have the trigger buttons on the back. If I go ahead and open this up, let me see if I can open it here. On the front side here, you have a new slider, traditional D-pad. You have new select, home, and start buttons. Power button, which is only specific for power compared to what it did in the past. Your traditional Y, X, BA buttons, and the new thing here obviously is there's still a camera up here for inside camera, but also this 3D slider, which you can see on the screen if you look right over there is me turning it into 3D and 2D mode. The thing here is obviously you have this focus point, the sweet spot as people have been calling it, of where you can see the 3D. For me, it seems to be very nice because I have a very big sweet spot, I guess you can say, because I've been able to adjust the DS in and out and really not have any effect, so I can really always see the 3D. Josh, obviously, on the last podcast that we had together, which he really couldn't see the 3D at all. But it's nice because the 3D slider not only just turns the 3D on and off, but it also adjusts the 3D effect. So if you really are having a hard time, you can adjust it to about 50%, and that seems to be really good for people. I've had a lot of people here in Romania play around with it and really like it. So the design obviously is very similar to the DSi. It's a little bit thicker. It has this kind of muffin top on top, and it has a kind of a 3-tone color. So this is the black Cosmo black version, so it's a black, darker, gray, and then just gray. I got this over the blue one because I already had a blue DSi. I'm definitely going to keep my DSi too. Obviously here you have a matte finish, which I really, really like. This one, obviously a glossy finish. Not sure if I love it just yet, but I will say it's definitely not really picking up tons of fingerprints, which is really good. That was a big thing here with the DSi's that it never did, because it's had this matte finish where this one does. Also, different placements of lights. On the DSi, you have the 3 different light indicators here. You have one here, Wi-Fi on off. You also have power if it's charging, and then just if it's on. Right now you can see it's in sleep mode. If this was flashing red, that means the power is low on it. And that's about it. Also different is there's a volume slider, which we've seen on the original DS, compared to the DSi, which is just up and downs. I'm not sure what I like better. I will say that I think the trigger buttons are a little bit, these have can you hear the click? Can't really hear it here. So if I open up the DSi, I think here you still have the hinge, and you can still see it's a little wobbly. My problem seems to be so far around with the 3DS is that, I'm not sure if you can hear that, but it's a little bit more wobbly, I think, and you can kind of hear it because of the type of plastic they're using. But really, now let's go ahead and get into the system. I'm going to go ahead and turn the 3D off, obviously. The big difference here, if I look at the DS compared to the DSi, they both start up relatively quickly, but I'm going to turn on the volume here. So On the DSi, you could really only have one row of all your games, whereas compared to here, you can actually adjust on the fly how much you actually want to see. You actually went into a game. Let's go back here. And I also think that in here, obviously, you can actually adjust with this button how many rows you see. So if you get a lot of stuff on the screen, you can actually go ahead and just see everything at once, which is really nice. Takes more away from like the Wii feel. I really like the touchscreen on this. It's definitely still is resistive, definitely not capacitive, but I will say that it seems a lot more responsive compared to even the DSi. So it's not quite capacitive, but it's a really nice resistive screen. And you do have the stylus as well, which is a periscoping type up and down, but I actually haven't used it at all except for maybe some text input. But the big thing here with the 3DS is obviously it's capable of playing 3D games. So if I click on like here, you won't be able to see this, but once I turn in 3D mode, this is actually spinning in 3D and I can actually see it come out at me, which is kind of really cool. The games seem, I bought Street Fighter and Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer by far has the coolest 3D effects. I think it's a really good showcase piece for the 3D because things are moving, and it's more like you're peering into the screen, I would say, than it actually popping out at you. I think a lot of TVs are just things popping out at you. But with the Ridge Racer and the Street Fighter, they have that more just a little bit. Street Fighter is a lot more subtle. I played Pilot Wings on it. I really didn't like it because I thought the focus object was too close to you. So I think some games will be up and down, but of course you can turn off the 3D if you don't like it. But some cool things here that I want to say is that the 3DS is definitely more of a social gaming system. For me, the biggest thing is that now you actually have just a unified friends list. I'm online here. You can still only store 3 hotspot locations, which I think is kind of a problem. But I did it here at home and at work, so that seems to work okay. But I have my friends on here. There's me and Jesse at work. And you still have one friends code. You have a friends code just like on the other DSi. However, it's one friends code per system, so you don't need to register every single game, which is really nice. Also, if you're local, it's just really easy to just register friends as well. Of course, you have Mii's integrated into the system. You have Mi Plaza, so you can see all your friends. But the biggest thing I really want to talk about is the built-in stuff, like I was saying. Like obviously, you still have a camera, which you can modify. You have a sound, which actually this is a relatively decent MP3 player as well. And some things that are kind of cool. I'll turn on the volume all the way, but everything seems to load relatively quick as well, which is nice. But here, for instance, if I go ahead and let's say I just have, let's say, where did I pick something? Oh, I put Little Girl Talk. So if I go ahead and play some stuff, there's some really cool stuff that kind of goes on. Is on the top screen you actually have like the visualizers, and sometimes they're interactive with buttons. So like here, if I'm playing like a Star Fox, you can actually shoot and fly around and things like that with the D-pad. So it's a little bit more interactive than if you close the console, it actually still stays on. But you can pop in and out of this relatively quick. It does have a resume feature, so it's actually saving the last thing I was in. So if I just needed to make some quick notes or do something or look at something, it would actually save what I was doing. Some other things, like I said, the built-in software. There's a pedometer built into the system, which is really cool because they have this thing called game coin type thing. So as you walk, you can get up to 10 coins per day, which is 10 steps, or 200 steps give you 1 coin. So you can do 2,000 steps a day, which is relatively easy to do. But up here you can see how many I went to the mall today. So I got about 1,500 steps so far. Mostly just went to Starbucks and to Auchan. You have the date, the time. But here's my game coins, 53 game coins. These are used in all the games so far I've used. You can buy things with them. Some of the built-in software, you can buy other things with them. So it's relatively pretty cool. But the biggest aspect